guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this tutorial I am going to show you how we can create this finance app in React Native. And for the navigation we are using Expo router. So here at the bottom you can see we have a floating bottom tab navigator, and here we can see our tabs. So these are the tabs. For this dashboard or home screen, we can see we have this layout. At the top we have this fixed header, and after the fixed header we have this expense section, and here we have the chart, and this is a pie chart, and here we have the different category of expenses, and those are being displayed here in the pie chart layout as well. After that we have this income section, and then we have this layout of the spending. So this is what we are going to create today in this tutorial. So if you are interested in this kinds of tutorial, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post a new tutorial on this channel. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So here I have created an Expo app by using create Expo app command, and here we have these directories and files. Within the app directory we have our main files and folders, but I don't need these things, so I'm going to get rid of these files. I will just keep this layout which is within this app directory and this tabs directory. Other than that I will get rid of these things, so let's delete all of these. I'm keeping this tabs directory because I need to create the custom bottom tab navigator, and for that this directory will be required. Now after that we don't need all of these components, but we will require the components directory, but we don't need these files. I'm getting rid of this components directory altogether, and I will create a new one. Now let's create components which is blank. I will create components as I require. Now after that we have constants. Here we have only one file and we don't need these colors, so I'm getting rid of this, but we will have our own color. So these are the colors which I'm going to use, and after that we don't need these hooks, so let's get rid of this. We are done deleting the files and folders. Now I'm going to add few things here in this project. So here I have added few things. First I have added this icons directory within the assets directory, and within this we have all the icons which will be required for our app, and all of these are svg icons. After that I have added the icons.tsx file within the constants directory, and here I have imported all the icons from the assets and exported them, and here we are seeing some error. I will fix those in a moment. Now after that I have added this data directory, and within the data directory I have these JSON files which will be useful to feed the data in our UI. Ideally these should be from an API call. Now let's focus into creating the UI. So here first we don't have these hooks, so let's get rid of that. Now after that we don't have the color scheme, then we don't need this theme provider as well, and we don't have this either. Now we don't need this import also as we are not using this. Let's save it, and after that within the tabs let's create few files. First one I will create as index.tsx, and here let's create this page component. Then create another one called profile.tsx, and it will also be similar. Let's copy this, and finally I will create another one called transactions. After that within tabs let's create a layout.tsx file, and with this layout I'm going to create the bottom tab navigator. So for this one I will name it as layout, and here let's export tabs from Expo router, and here in this stack screen we are displaying tabs. So now let's stop the server and start again. Here we can see we have this bottom tab created. Now we need to implement the design. So let's do it. But before that we need to install few packages in this project. So let me do that. And the first package we need this React Native gifted charts, and this will give us the ability to add the chart to our project. And to install that I need to copy this command, as I am using Expo, so I am copying this and adding it here. So it has been installed. and now we don't need to do any more thing. Now another one would be this React Native SVG transformer, and this will be required to import SVG file in your React Native project. So as I have already added these icons which are SVG icons, so I need this package so that the icon can be imported and can be used as a component. That's why I need to install it, and to install it I need to use this command. This one is for the yarn, and I'm not using yarn here, so I'm going to use npm install and then this command. So it has been added, and then we need to copy these codes in metro.config.js file. So here we don't have the file, so let's create that, and here let's paste it. After that we need to create this file declarations.t.ts file if we are using TypeScript, and as I'm using it, so I'm going to create that, and this is the code. So here let's start the app. Now let's first try to import an icon. So here we don't see the error which we were seeing before, and this have been gone because we have added the React Native SVG transformer package. Now we can import SVG like this and we can use it as a component. So here let's use Netflix icon. Let's provide a width, height as well, and for the color let's use the black color. It should be here, but we are not seeing any update for this. Okay, it's in profile, so here it is, right? So we can use it like this. It's working perfectly well. So now let's get rid of it, and now I'm going to focus into the UI of the app. So now I need to go to this layout, and within it I need to customize our bottom tab. So for that, within this tabs component I can create tabs.screen, and let's provide screen for it. For the first screen name I need to provide index, the name of the file. Then I can provide options for it, and here I can use TabBar icon to provide an icon for it, and here we will get color, size and focused prop, and we can use those in the icon component. First I'm going to use this simple line icon which needs to be imported from vector icons. For the icon name I will use pie chart. For the size I will use 18 pixel, and for the color I will use the color prop which have been passed here. So here I can see the icon. Now I need to wrap this within a view, and this view needs to be imported from React Native, and let's style it. For the padding I will use 12. For the border radius of it I will use 30, and for the background color I will use dynamic background color based on this focused prop. I will check if it is focused, then I will use a different color. If it is not, then I will use another one. So for this I will use colors, and this color is from our colors constant, and here I am going to use tint color. And if it is not focused, then I will use gray color. So right now it is looking something like this, but it will look better when I will provide styling in this whole tab area. That means when I will customize this tabs component, which is the parent component of this screen. But now I can see the background color here, and if I am focusing in other tab, then it is changing the background color, right? So this focused prop is working perfectly fine. Now similarly let's copy this tab screen 2 more times for other 2 tabs. So here after the index we have the transactions, and for the transactions I will use and design icon, and for the icon name I will use this, and for the last one it will be profile. For the profile I will use font awesome, and for the name of it will be user O. Now let's customize this parent tabs component. Let's provide screen options, and let's provide tab bar style. First I will provide background color, and the color will be gray. Then position absolute, and from the bottom I will provide 40. Then justify content center, align self center. For the height I will use 63. I don't want this text to display here. For that let's provide tab bar show label as false. TabBar inactive tint color as this gray color, and these are the color for the icons. So here we can see icon little bit, but it is not clear yet. For TabBar active tint color, I will use white. Now let's provide more styling here. Let's provide margin horizontal 120, padding horizontal 10, padding vertical 8, border radius 40. So it's looking good, but the icon is barely visible. I need to provide padding bottom separately. So now it's looking good. Now we need to provide styling for few other things also, but for that let me provide a background color here. So let's create container, provide flex. Let's import style sheet from React Native, and now let's provide flex 1 for the background color. Let's use black color. For the padding horizontal, use 20, and here for this view let's provide that. So here we can see we have a border at the top. For this tab bar, I need to customize that. So let's provide border with 1, border top with 1, provide border color, this color, and then let's provide border top color as the same. And why I am using same value for two sections, border width, already providing border width in every places, but again I am using border top width, and that is because for this bottom tab navigator it has specifically provided top border. So to customize that I need to provide border top width specifically, and to provide border around this tab bar I need to provide this border width. Okay, so that's why I have provided border width and then the border top width as the same value, and then I'm using border color. So that's why we can right now see a border around here, but this color is not provided in the border top. So that's why I have again provided border top color. Now after saving this, we have a same border all around this tab bar. So that's how we can customize our tab bar, and now it's working perfectly well. Right, now after that let's see what we need to do. So here is our design. Now let's first focus into this header part, which is this one. Right now also it is not matching with the rest of the screen, that we need to fix. And along with that I will also change the look of these screens as well. So let's do that first. So for the profile here let's provide some styling. So let's create container, and here let's provide the style container. Now let's provide the background color, and it will be colors, and this color needs to be imported from constant colors. Now we can use our custom color, and with that we need to provide some style for this text as well. So let's create that, and it will be colors.white. Now let's add that here, so it's looking good. Now I want to get rid of this header, and to do that here I need to wrap this within a React fragment, and then let's use stack, which needs to be imported from Expo router. And here for the screen options let's add header shown as false. Okay, this needs to be stack.screen, and then it should be options, not the screen options. So now it's gone. Right, similarly I will add this style for the transactions also. So I have copied it, and let's just import the colors, and here also let's copy it, and here it will be transactions, and we need to import stack. Now let's go to the transactions. It's looking good. Now we can focus into this home screen or index.tsx file. So here also our header is not looking good, but here we don't want to delete that, we want this to be our header, right? So that's why here also I need to wrap it with React fragment, and then let's import stack from Expo router, and then for stack.screen options let's add a custom component for the header, and that component I will call as header. So within this components directory let's create a file called header.tsx, and now let's just import it here. So add import from components header. So here we can see the header, right? So that's how we are adding our custom component to the header, and now we can design here as we want. First, I want to wrap it with safe area view. So by using this safe area view, it is leaving the space of this status bar and this notch area. After that, let's provide some style, flex 1, and for the background color, I will use the same background color as this one, and that will be colors, and then it would be black. Now after that, we can see we have this section and this button. So within a view, I need to display an image. So here let's create that, import the image from React Native, and for the source of it I will use an URL, and this will be the URL. I will fetch the image from internet, and this is a random image, and let's provide height and width as 50, and for the border radius let's provide 30 so that it would be rounded. So that's how it's showing right now, and within this view let's create this button first. After that I will create this text, that will be a button, and for the button I will use touchable opacity. For the on press of it I will use empty function, and then let's provide the button text, so it will be my transactions, and let's provide some style here for this text. Okay, so it is not showing the text. Let's provide style for this wrapper view. So here let's provide flex direction row, and for the justify content let's provide space between. Now for the header we need to provide some height also. Let's provide that. So after providing the height, here we can see the button, right? Here for the align items let's provide center, and for the padding horizontal I will provide 20. So at the edges I will provide some padding. Now for the button I will provide some border like this. So let's provide that. We can provide that here. For the touchable opacity, for border color I will provide this color. For the border width it will be 1 pixel. For the padding I will use 8, and for the border radius let's provide 10. Now it's looking good. Along with this I want to make this status bar content white. So right now we can see it is in dark and it is not properly visible, so I want to display this Wi-Fi battery status and the time as white, and that I can do from this TabBar layout. I need to wrap it with React fragment, and here let's provide status bar, and I will import from Expo status bar. For this style of it I will provide light. Right now it's good. For all the screens it have been applied, and that's what I wanted. Now let's focus into this header. So after this button I need to implement this text, that will be after this image. But here you can see within this view we have these two component, image and this button. For these two to be positioned like this, I have applied these styles in this wrapper view. So to add the text beside this image I need to wrap this thing within a view, and this thing means this image and then the text. So here we can see the text. Let's provide style here, and it will be colors white. For the font size I will use 12 pixel. So here for this wrapper view let's provide style as flex direction row, and then for the align items let's provide center. So now it have been positioned properly. Now after this hi Jenny we need to provide this text. So let me copy this text, and here it will be this. But now we can see these are positioned beside each other, but that's not how it is over here. So that's why we need to wrap these two text with another view. And now these two have been positioned in a column direction. So by default we have flex direction column, but as I have provided this wrapper view as flex direction row, so that's why all the child element of it have that flex direction row property. So that's why I need to wrap these two text within another view so that these two will have the flex direction as column, right? Now let's provide another style which will be margin left 10 pixel. That's looking good. And here let's provide font size 16, and after that we can see we have this budget text as bold text. So we need to change the font weight of this text only. That's why we need to wrap it within another text, and for this one only we need to provide font weight style, and for this one I will use 700. So now it's looking good and same as this one. So now we can separate these. So let's cut it and provide container, and here let's create that. So nothing changes. I'm just making this code little bit cleaner. I'm providing style in style sheet component. Let me just do it quickly. Okay, most of the styles I have provided in this styles constant. Now let's move these text styles. But here we can see for the text color we have the fixed color, but for the font size we have different font sizes. So that's why here let's provide user text, and for the user text color I will provide the color which I have used. So instead of using this color style twice, I will remove it, and let's provide this user text styles like this, and we can provide the font size as this because these two texts have different font sizes. And here for this one I can create user text wrapper like this, and for the font weight also let's provide styles here for this one, and let's name it as bold text. So that's how we have created our custom header. Now after the header we need to create other parts of the screen, and here we can see we have this section where we have this text, and these are pretty simple, but here we can see we have the pie chart. So we need to implement that, and to implement that in the index.tsx file we have this view, and within this view we have this text. So within this section we need to add those things, but first we need to see it. I have this text but I couldn't see that in the screen, so let's provide some style to it, and the style will be the color white, and still now I couldn't see the text. And to see that I need to provide some style in this wrapper view, and that will be a padding top 50. So here we can see the text. Now after that I want to provide a scroll view, and within the scroll view I will provide all the components so that I can scroll here like this. For the scroll view I don't want to display any vertical scroll view, so I will set it to false, and now I can provide the other components within it. But before that let me change this padding top to 40. I think it is looking good. Let's provide the text, and first we have the my expenses and a number. So here I have provided my expenses text, and here it is like this. So first we have the normal text, and then we have the bold text. So let's provide font size 16, and for the expenses word we need to wrap it within another text, and for this text component I need to provide font weight as 700. So now let's see, it's looking pretty similar to this. Now after that we have the amount, and here also we have a different kind of style in this amount. Before the decimal point we have this text which is in a bigger font size, but after the decimal point we have the numbers in a small font size, so we need to handle that. So for that here I'm creating a text component, and here let's provide the amount, and let's provide some style here, and the style would be the color white, and let's provide a font size of 36, and I will provide a font weight of 700 here. So it is looking similar to this, but for the zeros we need to provide some other font styling. So let's do that here. So for it, let's provide font size 22, and for the font weight let's use 400. So now it's looking good, it's looking similar to this one. Now after that we need to provide the chart. Here we need to provide that pie chart within a view, and that view will be here. So here I'm providing a text of pie chart, and here we are seeing the pie chart text. Right now I'm just providing a color here for this text, but later it will not be the text, it will be the pie chart. I'm just providing this to prepare the layout properly. So here we are having this view, and we have this view which is wrapping all this text. So these two things needs to be positioned beside each other, and in the middle it should have the available space. So for that we need to wrap all these things within a wrapper view, and for this wrapper view I need to provide the style of the flex direction row, and then for the justify content it would be space between, and for the align items I will provide center. So now instead of this text I can provide the pie chart here. And to provide that chart, let's go to this React Native gifted charts GitHub page, and here we have the detailed documentation with the example. So here in this page, let's go to this pie and donut section, and here if we scroll down we can see this pie chart, and I'm going to use this one. First we need to import pie chart from React Native gifted charts, and previously I have already installed that. Now I'm just getting rid of this text, and here I'm importing this, and here I need to use the pie chart. So here I'm not going to use these things, these are the component to provide the layout of it, but I'm interested into this pie chart. So let's copy this one and paste it here, and here we need to provide the data as pie data. I haven't created that yet, so let me create that. Here I have already prepared a pie data, and that I'm going to paste it here. And here you can see I have used these colors which are present in our colors.ts file. So let's use that pie data here, and now let's save it and let's see what we got. So here we can see this is the chart we are getting. Here first I want to change the inner circle color. So this is the color. Here we can see this color, this dark blue color, but I don't want that. I want it to have our own background color, which is this one, and that will be the black color. Now I want to change the radius to 70, and for the inner radius I will use 55, and I will provide semicircle like this. So now it's looking pretty good and similar to this one. Right, now here we have this percentage and this text, but I don't want this text to be present here because it is not properly visible, so I can get rid of it, and now it's looking good. And along with it I want to show you another property of the pie chart, that is focus on press. So by providing this, if we are pressing any section, then it is being focused over here, right, as you can see. So this you can use, or if you don't want to use this, then it's up to you, but I wanted to show you that these are the options it has. And also if you go to this documentation, it has plenty of examples. You can get to use it and play with it as you want. So it's pretty good documentation. So now I want to provide this view some style, and that is padding 20 and align items center. And instead of padding 20, let's use padding vertical 20. Now it's looking good. Now after that we have this section. This is also part of the expense. These are the different categories of the expenses which we have added over here, and this is a button by which we can add more. So let's work on that, and for that here I will create a component called expense block.tsx, and here let's create that. And after this view, let's import that expense block, and here we can see the text. So here we need to add these things, and for that we have the data. Within this data directory we have this expense.json file, and from this JSON data I can create types for it. So for that let's create a types.ts file, and here let's create JSON to TS, convert from clipboard, and I have already copied one JSON data in my clipboard, and from that data I have created this type. So let me provide it a name and let me export it so that I can import it in the other files of my project, and I can do it because of a extension. And let me show you the name of that extension, this one, this JSON to TS. If you copy any JSON data, then from that you can create the type of it by using this extension, right? And now here we need to take the expense list, and it will be type of this expense type. Now save this one, and here we will provide that expense list, and that expense list needs to be imported from this expenses.json file, and let's provide that here. Okay, so it's showing some error, and I think it is because of, yes, it would be we have provided the expense type here, but in the JSON data it is an array of this type, so it should be array of the type which we are passing here, and now the error have been gone, so now it is perfectly fine. Now let's implement this design, and it should be by using flat list. So let's provide flat list from React Native, and for the data of it I will provide this expense list. For the render item I will provide render item function which I need to create. So let's create that, and it will be list render item, and it could be partial of expense type, and here we can get item. For each item we will return this. So let's create a view and let's provide a text, and for the item I will first display the name of the item, and here we have an warning, and that will go by using this horizontal. Let's provide some style here, which is the color white. For show horizontal scroll bar I will provide false, and here let's save the index file as well. Now we can see the listings. So these are the names which we have provided here, so it's working perfectly well. Now let's style this one. So here now let's provide some style for this, and I will name this as expense block, and let's create that expense block here and provide the styling for it. First I will provide a background color here, which will be this background color. For the width I will use 100 pixel. For the padding I will use 15. For border radius I will use 15 pixel as well. Now after that let's provide margin right 20. Okay, let's not use this one, let's use a tint color here. Now after the name we have the amount and then the percentage. So after this text we have the amount with dollar sign, and then we have the percentage with percentage sign, like this. After this let's use a gap so that every component within this component will have same space in between them. Now here let's provide style called expense block text one. Let's create that here, and here first the color will be white color. Then for the font size let's use 14. Then after that let's use expense block text 2, and here also it will be white color. For the font size I will use 16, and for the font weight I will use 600. So that's looking good. Now we can see we have different styling for this amount also, similar to this one. Before the decimal value it has different font size, and after the decimal point value the numbers have different styles. Let's implement that, and to implement that we couldn't do it like this, as here we have provided the amount as hard-coded amount, but right now we don't have the hard-coded amount, we have the amount altogether in here. So in item.amount we are getting that. Now we need to separate the number with the decimal point, and that we can do by creating a variable called amount, and it will be item amount, and I want to split it by this dot. So here instead of this item amount I can provide amount 0. So for the amount 0 we will have this 955 value. Now after that let's provide a dot, and then let's create another text and here provide amount 1. So now we are back to our previous values, but right now we have splitted the amount by the decimal point. Now we can style it as we want. So it will be expenses block text to span. I will name it like this, and let's create that span here. Font size 12. For font weight I will use 400. So it's looking good and pretty similar as this one. Now let's provide some style for percentage also, and here we can see we have a pill shape layout for this. So here we need to wrap it with a view. Let's create a style for this. I will name this as expense block 3 view, and let's create the style for this one. And for this one I will provide a background color with RGBA value. This is the RBG format with an alpha value, which means opacity. So this is the white color with the opacity value 0.2. Now let's provide padding horizontal 5 and padding vertical 3. For the border radius I will provide 10. So now it's looking like this, but I want to change it to like this, and that I can do by providing align items flex start. And also along with this I want to provide justify content space between. So now it is looking good and properly positioned like this, right? And now for this one also I will provide expense block text 3, and also it is similar to this one, so let's use expense block text 1. Now we need to provide a different colors for each of these, and that we can do by checking the name of the items. So here for the expense block we need to provide the background color, and here we can check for the item name. If the item name is equal to food, then we can provide blue color, or else if the item name is equal to saving, then we can provide white color, else we will use the tint color which we are using here. So this is the checking. So this is how it's looking right now, and here also we can see it is pretty similar for the background color. For the text also it has different colors. So for the item name also it will be like this. So for this food and saving we will have the black color, for the other one we will have the white color, and it will not be background color, it will be the color. So it's looking good, and let's copy it for the other text also. So here it will be same as this, and for the percentage also it will be same. Okay, so now it's looking pretty similar to this one, but we have this item, this add item button, which we don't have here, and we are generating this from this array, and in this array we don't have anything like this. But for the flat list we need to provide an array which we have provided here, and that's how we are generating. So to add a new item with this flat list data we need to modify our array, and that we can do by creating a static data, and I will call this as static, and let's provide a name, and this name doesn't matter, I'm just providing this add item here. What matter is that we have an item, and by providing this item to the array we can check the render item here and provide a custom element for that particular item which is being added, and this will be added in the first position. So let me add that here. Instead of providing this expense list in data like this, I will use static concat, and then I will provide the expense list. Okay, so it is a reserved word. Let's use static item, and we have added this item in our array. And here let's check for that. In this render item, along with the item we can get the index also, and let's check for the index. If index equal to 0, then we will return our custom element. And let's provide this text. So here we can see the text. So now let's create this button here. Instead of this view, let's use touchable opacity, and this touchable opacity needs to be imported from React Native. And let's provide a view here. Let's provide an icon, and that will be feather icon. The name of the icon is plus. For the size of it I will use 22, and for the color of it I will use this color. So this is the button. Now let's style this. Let's provide flex 1. For border width I will use 2 pixel. For border color I will use this color. For border style I will use dashed. Now for the border radius I will use 10. For margin right let's provide 20, padding 20, and then justify content center, align item center. So that's how we have created this button. Right, so it's looking good. Now I can just cut it from here and make it add item button. So that's how we have created this expense block, and it is pretty similar to this one. I just need to provide a padding vertical 20. So now it's looking good. Now after this expense section we have this my income. So this will be the income block. So let's create that income block.tsx component, and let's import that here. So here we can see the text. Now let's first provide my income text here, and here for the style of it provide color white. For font size I will use 16, and for this text style let's provide font weight 700. And now after that let's provide the flat list, and for this flat list data we need to provide the income list data, and that will be similar to this expense list which we are getting from this data directory. Similar to expenses.json we have this income.json, and from this json data I need to create the type of it. So let's create that type, and I will provide the name as income type, and let's export that. And similarly let me do that for the spending also. So we need to create the type for this one, so I am doing that right now, and let's export that as well. Now here we can accept that. So here it will be income list, and it would be array of income type. Let's accept the income type, and here we need to provide that income list. For the render item I need to create the render item, and it would be horizontal, and for the horizontal scroll indicator I will use false. Now let's create this render item, list render item, and it will be type of income type, and here we can get the item, and based on the item we can return. So let's provide the item name first, and here for the index we need to pass the income list similar to expense list. So here let's provide that. Okay, and here I am seeing a spelling mistake, so I'm changing it. For the expense block also I need to accept expense list with an e. So our data is showing here perfectly fine. Now we need to create this layout. So here let's provide a style for this view. First the background color, it will be color gray. For padding let's use 20. For border radius let's use 20. For margin right I will use 15. For the width of it I will use 150, and for the gap for the children within this component I will provide 10. Now I want to provide a space after this text, and that I can do by providing margin bottom 20. So now let's see, above this name we have the icon and this button. Here we need to provide the icon. So here we have the icons list, right? So we have all the icons necessary for this project. So here in the income block, let's export this dollar icon. Width of it 22, for the height of it I will use 22, for the color I will use white color. So it is the icon. And now we can see here we have the icon within this circle. So we need to create the circle, and that we can do by wrapping a view around it. And let's provide some style to it. Provide a border color of this border with 1. For border radius let's use 50. For padding I will use 5. Now let's provide align self as flex start, so it's looking good. Now here we can see after this icon we have this 3 dots icon at the right side of this box. So after this view we will need to have another component for the 3 dot icon, and these two things needs to be wrapped within another view. So that's why I'm creating a view here, and let me close that here. And here let's create a touchable opacity, and within this touchable opacity I will provide that 3 dot icon, and that icon will be feather icon, which needs to be exported from Expo vector icons, and the name of it will be more horizontal. For the size of it I will use 20, and for the color it will be white. So this is the icon. Now we need to position it here. So for this view let's provide flex direction row, and justify content will be space between, and then for the align items it will be center. So this is a button, right? So it's working perfectly well. Now after that, here we can see we have the amount. So below this item name we have the amount, but here also we have different style for the different numbers similar to this, right? So it will be let amount item amount split by this dot, and here we can get this value. So for the font size I will use 18. For the font weight I will use 600, and let's provide the numbers after the decimal, and let's provide style here. Font size 14. For font weight let's use 400. Okay, let's use 12. Okay, so now it's looking pretty good and similar to this one. Now we need to provide different icons for different category of income, and that we can do by checking the income name. So here it is our icon. First let's create a variable called icon, and it will be this. So instead of using dollar icon here I can use the icon variable, and let's check if item name equal to freelancing, then we will use wallet card icon as the icon. So now we can see it have been updated. Let's check else if item name equal to interest, then icon would be wallet add money icon. So this is how it's looking right now. Okay, so it is done and looking good like this. Now we are just left with this section. So let's create that, and for that let's create another component called spending block, and let's import that here. So here we can see that now we need to create the component. So for this one also we need to take the spending list, and it will be type of spending type, and it will be the array of this type. Let's take this, and in the index also let's add this one. So we have added the type, but here as we have used flat list for these blocks, we couldn't use that flat list here, because here the list is present in the vertical scroll view, and here we have already provided a scroll view, and when we have a scroll view present which is scrolling vertically, then we cannot present any other flat list within this scroll view which is again scrolling vertically. Here we have provided horizontal scrolling for this flat list, that's why it is not throwing any error. But when we will position these items vertically, then it will throw some error. So that's why I couldn't use the flat list here. I will use use the map function to render all the items present in this array. So first, now let's provide the month name and the spending text. So let's provide the style here. First, it will be color white. For the font size, I will use 16. For font weight, I will use 700. But this font weight will not be for this one, it will be for this only. Okay, so it's looking like this. Now let's provide margin vertical 20, and for the align items I will provide flex start. After this text, let's use map function, and here we can see we have the icon first, then the item name and the date, then the amount at the right side. So first we need to create a wrapper view, and for this view I need to provide a key which will have unique value. So that's why I have provided item ID. Now let's provide a view, and within this view let's provide the icon. I will provide $icon. For the width of it I will use 22. For the height of it I will use 22 as well. For the color of it I will use white color. Now let's style it. Let's provide a background color gray, padding 15, border radius 50. Then let's provide item name with white color, and here we can see with the name we have the date also. Let's provide that date, and let's wrap these two text within a view, and let's provide style as gap 5. So these two will have some space, and then here we have the amount. So after this view I will provide the amount, and this view and this amount text needs to be positioned in the different end. So this amount needs to be positioned at the right side, and these two will be positioned at the left. For that, let's create another view, and for this view let's provide flex direction row, so it is at here, and now this needs to be positioned here, and that we can do by providing justify content space between. And to make this thing work I need to provide this parent view some style, and that will be the flex direction row also. Okay, and align item center. For the margin vertical I will use 10, and here let's provide align item center, and let's provide flex 1. Now it have been positioned at the right side properly. So it wasn't working previously because I haven't provided flex 1 before, and by providing flex 1 it is taking all the available space. Previously it was not taking all the available space, it was taking only the space which is required for its child component. So that's why it was having the flex direction row, but it was not going this side because the parent view is not taking the all the available space on the screen. So after providing this flex 1 it is taking all the available space, so now it have been positioned properly. Now here let's provide margin right 10. Now let's provide the style for this text. For it let's provide font size 16. For font weight I will provide 600. For the amount also I will provide the same. Now it is looking similar to this one, but now I need to provide the icons. So here I have the icon. Let me cut it from here, and let's create a variable called icon. And here I have provided a list, and this needs to be positioned here. So we need to update the import. So I have added all the imports for the icons. So here I am checking for the name, and based on the name I have provided the item. For the Netflix item I am showing Netflix icon. For Spotify I am using Spotify. For Amazon, Amazon, and so on, right? So now save it, and with this save I can see all the icons have been updated properly. And here I will provide a margin bottom 20. So it's looking good now. And finally we can separate these styles from inline style to the style sheet style. So spending wrapper. Now I'm just quickly doing it. and for this one also it will be same as the item name style, so that's why I'm using this. So now it's looking good. So that's how I have separated these styles from these components. Now it's looking better. So in this tutorial we have created the custom bottom tab bar by using Expo router, and then we have created this app UI. So this is the tutorial guys. I hope you have learned something new from this tutorial. If you do so, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this. If you have any kind of suggestion for me, then also let me know, and don't forget to share this tutorial with your friends and colleagues, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. In the meantime, have a great day. Goodbye.